Welcome back to our podcast. I'm the Disturbed Southern Belle.
And I'm the gentleman.
On this episode, we're going to continue our series talking about some disturbing creepypastas, and this one is a twist on an old zombie tale, and it is called Persuaded. Everyone has expectations about zombie behavior. Some people think that they will shamble around slowly, while others picture them running around at an insane speed. But most agree that whatever their speed, they all have one goal: seeking out flesh to consume. Well, what happens if everyone is wrong? What if they exceed our expectations? What if they're smarter than you realize? Will that door that you locked and barricaded be enough to keep them out? Will it be enough to keep you in?
Well, I guess that depends on what kind of apocalypse it is, what kind of zombie and how they start.
Yeah.
Like, is it some sort of virus? Do they actually reanimate after they die? That kind of thing.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out. The whole thing started with a tanker accident. It was all over the news, but everyone just thought it was just another oil spill. As usual, volunteers poured in, plenty of people showing up to help the poor defenseless animals, help clean up all the waste, people that would soon become victims themselves. Just a few hours after the accident, it started happening. The animals started going crazy. They began to attack volunteers, scratching and biting them. They said it was an adverse reaction to whatever had been in the tanker. While rescue workers tried to get the crew off the tanker, they started to hear screaming inside. Screams that demanded for someone to open the doors. As soon as they were able to cut the doors open that held the crew back, everything went to hell. There were 6 minutes of the news broadcast before it finally went silent and the screen went black. 6 minutes of screaming anguish. The ship's crew had fell upon the rescuers as soon as the door opened, breaking their bones and tearing their flesh. Yet it only got worse. The volunteers that had been attacked by the animals now began to attack others in the crowd. 6 minutes of sheer brutality and then blank faces of the newscasters. No one can explain what was happening. The news reporters tried to continue on with the regular news, the weather, a human interest story, but they could not make the audience unsee what they had saw.
Well, I don't imagine so.
No. I tried to continue with my regular life, but every time I turned on the news or walked past a newsstand, the big mystery, it was everywhere. There were some theories, like some kind of infection or a brain parasite, but in the end, it didn't matter. It wasn't an infection we were afraid of. It was them. 4 days after the initial report, a state of emergency was called. No one knew who to trust. People began stockpiling food and weapons, while others tried to flee, but like they do in most movies, they didn't make it. 3 days later, they showed up in my town. I expected moans and shuffling corpses, but that is not at all how they showed up. They come running through the streets screaming. I can still remember them running as fast as I could. I can still remember them running as fast as they could. I spotted them and ran to my house, wasting no time locking and barricading every door and window downstairs. Then I headed upstairs to the second floor so that I could check out the carnage outside. They were unstoppable. They were aware. A group of them made their way across to a building across the street from me. They had entered by jumping straight through plate glass window, the glass slicing their skin. They didn't even react. There was no way my meager barricade was going to hold up against them.
Real quick, it sounds kind of like Rage or whatever it was from,
Sort of.
What was it called? The movie? It's
28 days.
28 days, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So I began to rush around the house, grabbing supplies and putting them in the most secure room in my house. Before I locked myself into the room, I took one last look at the building across the street. God, I wish I hadn't. One of them was looking back across the street and our eyes met. They knew where I was. I ran to the room and locked the door. Sadly, I don't have a panic room or a basement, so the safest room I could think of was my bathroom. There's no windows and only one door, and it has a lock on it. Truthfully, this sounds like the worst place to get, but, because there's no exit, but whatever.
Yeah.
I filled my sink and bathtub with water just in case. Then I sat in the darkness and listened to the sounds of the distant screams. After waiting for what felt like around 2 hours and nothing happening, I began to think I'd overreacted. It'd gotten quieter, and I started to think they probably just moved on. Maybe I could leave the bathroom and head to the kitchen since I hadn't had much time to grab food when I had been running around early. Just as I was about to test my luck, I heard a crashing sound at the front door. Then you could hear someone running across the ground. It sounded like at full speed, and then crashing into the barricade again. This happened over and over. Then I heard a couple of screams, and then a bang, and then I could tell they were inside. I could hear their rapid footsteps running around the house. Then I heard another scream, then another, and then a bang on the wall beside me. I had my eyes stretched as wide as they would go, sweat running down my temples, my breathing and heart rate through the roof. Then another bang on the wall, then another. They knew I was in the bathroom, and they knew I was scared. I had nowhere to run, and there was only so much time before they got tired of toying with me and broke into the bathroom. I was just sitting and waiting for the end. Then it got worse. "Why don't you open the door?" a whispery voice asked from behind the door. "We've come for you. You'll be happier if you open the door. It's not so bad." More voices joined in, all of them trying to persuade me to open the door. The longer I listen, the harder it is to resist. It's almost becoming like a siren's call. I pray they will get tired or bored, but they don't get tired or bored, and they don't leave. I managed to use a mirror to peek under the door, only to be greeted by horrible, unblinking eyes and blood-smeared faces. More screams, more whispers. I don't know what to do anymore. Maybe it won't be so bad. And that's the end. So I guess he decides to give it up there, but Jesus Christ, creepy.
Bleak.
Very bleak, very creepy, because you don't hear many zombies talking or being, aware of anything.
So yeah, it does kind of remind me of Rage.
Except they couldn't talk or anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just like it. It's very creepy. We hope you like that one. We're going to be continuing the series. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to stay disturbed.